Once again, next match coming up here at the Underdog Cup, everybody. We have another best of 3 series in our mini tournament promoting the amateur scene, heroeslounge.gg, and we're focusing with the new patch now onto the lower part of the skill level after we just had the Eternal Conflict tournament with a pretty epic grand final. If you haven't checked that out, I would highly recommend that you look it up on YouTube because that thing was amazing. Currently, though, we have Ruhm and Ehre going up against the Donation Squad. It's a best of 3 series. We are still in the winner bracket with these two teams. And we have, of course, a little bit of prize money, a bit of pizza money on the line here. So the entire tournament is really designed to shine more of a spotlight onto the amateur scene, give these teams also a chance to, dip their toe into the water of competitive tournament play and just generally promote this a bit. If you haven't checked Heroes Lounge out, you definitely should. It's the biggest amateur scene that we have in Heroes of the Storm. You can just go to the website, heroeslounge.gg. There should be a link also in the description of the video right now if you watch this on YouTube, for example. And you can sign up as an individual player, you can sign up as a whole team, doesn't really matter. And it doesn't also not matter which level you're at. The only thing that matters is that you have fun playing Heroes of the Storm, that you want to get a little bit better, and that you also want to play in a more competitive environment. So in this case, we're going to find out which team is going to move on to the next round of the winner bracket, who drops down into the losers bracket. In total, 8 teams participate in this event, and yeah, we'll see where we're going to get with today's matches, because we had some pretty fun games on day 1 already, with some murky picks, a lot of Nazevo picks. We had quite some fun stuff happening there, and let's see if today continues in exactly that vein. Divisions 4 and 5 are allowed in this tournament, so as usual with the earlier rounds, the games are normally a little bit more one-sided as we're starting to shape up towards the winner bracket final and the grand final. But we should have quite a bit of fun here. And of course we also have a draft rule, which I don't think I pointed out yet. Every single hero can only be played 1 time within a series. So as you are going into game number 2, game number 3, there are less and less heroes available, which plays more and more of a role here in the lower ends of the spectrum of the skill level, because, well, these guys usually only play 2, 3, 4 heroes and don't have a hero pool that is as deep as what you're seeing at the top level of play. So that affects them a lot more, and you might end up with somebody that's just like, wait, what's the build on this guy again? So it could get fun here a lot once we're heading into, let's say, game number 3. Stukov and Sonya are picked after Anubarak started us off with Infernal Shrine, so an interesting first pick already for the Donation Squad. And I think I should probably explain also the German name of the blue team a little bit. It's a funny word twist on Ruhm and Ehre, which kind of means honor and honor. Actually, like, right now on top of my head, I wouldn't really know what exactly... Okay, fame and honor would probably be the translation into English, but they twisted the words a little bit, so now they are called Rum and Ehre, and that's basically just like they changed the words a little bit. They sound the same, but they mean different things, so essentially they made it into a statement of them being alcoholics. So I could also call them Alcoholics United, and I would probably pretty much hit the mark on the spot. But I endorse rum, so if we're talking alcohol, then rum is probably one of my favorites as well. So I'm not going to take it too seriously here. We have a ban missed even. That hasn't happened in a hot minute, so okay. Or maybe they just want to show dominance by saying, like, we don't even need to ban anything. We're going to take you down anyways. Sylvanas and Falstad have been taken, so they can already start to push the side lanes a bit. Have with Falstad some nice control here. With the Haka being banned, there's not that many globals that can be played by the blue team in order to play around this. And then Mephisto banned out, which is a hero that I haven't really seen all that much in a while, but he of course for a long time dominated Infernal Shrines and also Tomb of the Spider Queen. Orphea and Maiev. It's kind of funny to me to see so many Orphea picks these days. It's not like we see her in every game, but ever since Disciple started to really pick this up, we'll hear him more and more. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Karasim and Illidan. Okay, this is where it gets real wild. Anubarak, Illidan for the front line. I would have expected to see a triple front line if they're going Illidan, to tell you the truth. Now we have Imperius, which seems to be the main tank for Ruhm and Ehre. So this is gonna get pretty interesting here. I'm kind of curious of who takes this. Game number 1, everybody. Infernal Shrines. Let's go. Donation Squad against Ruhm and Ehre. The blue team over on the left side on Infernal Shrines, our first map in the series. We got Sergeant Johnny on Sonya, Vasimir on Stukov, Serena on Ophir. Kazim is playing Maiev, and we got Sergeant, hey, a lot of Sergeants over here. Sergeant Hader on Imperius. Over on the right side of the map, that's where things get quite interesting too. We have LGM on Karazim. Thirst is playing Illidan, so heading straight into Immolation as his level 1 talent. Please don't kill me with Sylvanas. Missed an L there. Name might have been a little bit too long. We got Helu on Nubrak. He's the little brother of Hello. And Slywalker on Falstad. So, the birdie for the side lane pressure. And then in addition to that, we have top lane Illidan, who of course we're going to keep a bit of an eye on. He was one of the heroes that we expected to be played a little bit more in the new patch. Interestingly enough, Karazim as a support. I mean, you're kind of diving in with your entire team here as you're trying to blow them apart. But I still would have personally expected to see a triple front line with just one range damage dealer, given that they're using Illidan and Karazim here. So that's not really what we're getting. But time will tell if this is going to work for them. Interesting, obviously, also that we don't have a I mean, we have Imperius as a tank, but he hasn't been played as a main tank in quite some time. That was obviously a bit of a thing for a while, where Imperius was just a proper main tank that everybody used, but that strategy fell off a long time ago, and we don't usually see it these days any longer. To be fair to them, though, they have a triple front line, so that makes this a little bit more viable. Lots of damage from Imperius too, and they get the first kill. Falstad is gone. There's the first blood right here, and they're taking the mercenary camp out before it even gets a chance to move onto the lane. So, starting things off with a bit of a bang. Rum and Ehre, with a lot of good aggression early on in the game, when able to take the camp, but they can now play for the second one at the bottom of the map and trying to grab this one too. Whereas I would assume with Illidan we're talking more about a late game approach here. That's a ballsy play. I mean, damn. I haven't seen something like that in a while. They have vision at the bottom of the map, I guess. So they're gonna try and steal that camp, but they might lose some of their structures at the bottom of the map as a result. They're also collapsing onto Sonya in just a second. I'm not quite sure if she's gonna make it. Sergeant Johnny is getting blown to pieces, and now the chance to push the top lane. The blue team has realized that just running towards the top is not going to solve anything for them, so instead they're trying to go for the fort at the bottom of the map. And this is the price that the donation squad is currently paying for the play they made. Now, they themselves are also getting aggressive. The minion wave is a bit late to the party, though, which means that they don't have an Inspire buffed minion wave to assist them, at least initially. They still have Sylvanas with this, though, so they break through the wall and might be able to take the fort, too. They are just accelerating the entire game here. I mean, the fort is gone, Nubarak gets away. By now we have Maiev and also Sonya trying to defend, and the two of them can actually push them back. So, interestingly enough, we have one team that was able to destroy a fort. The other one only made it to 50% of its HP. So the blue team walks away from that situation with a plus, and they get Illidan again, who gets absolutely wrecked here. The tether connecting hard, and now we have the objective up on the map too, so the first shrine is getting attacked right away. But some interesting early game plays, I have to admit. And it could have worked out for the nation squad, but let's be honest, at this point they're falling farther and farther behind. They have already, well, they're roughly a half a level behind. And I guess they can also kiss that particular Punisher goodbye, because this is not going to happen for them. They are still pushing at the top. Sonya is now coming in, but I think they are most likely going to be able to take that fort out, and Sonya finds herself in trouble. Imperius is assisting too, but the fort is gone. So, the good news is that the red team was able to take the fort. Down at the bottom of the map, they decided to not push with this, but instead we have in the middle... actually, they're rotating back down, I was about to say. It seems like they're rotating towards the middle and try and make their play there, but now, with the entire team getting back in action, they're starting to take that wall down over here. So, level 7 talents kicked in on both sides. That gives us Unbound for Illidan. Already a few hits coming as the wall falls. The gate's gone. The towers are getting attacked next and should also both fall. And I think at that point they should probably try and disengage from this. Karazim was trying to move in from the top as well. And we have in the meantime Sonya still pushing over in the middle and trying to do her thing here as well. So, as things are right now, we have nearly a 1-level lead for the blue team. The Rum boys are doing pretty okay here. Level 10 might change the dynamic, of course. But I like that the Donation Squad was trying to change the usual patterns of the game and went for some pretty aggressive moves and also some cheeky little plays, trying to steal some camps away. And I think they're going to do the same thing again. Okay, they're not. I was looking at that timer and I was thinking, is that respawning? And it's not. So they're apparently just going for structures with Sylvanas? What am I watching here? They're going for a backdoor strategy. They're going for backdoor plays without Morales. Oh my god, they're all gonna die here, but they're just going full backdoor on this one. They're not gonna get the entire keep though, but they're all gonna die here. They're basically what what they're basically doing is they're playing backdoor without Morales. That's what's happening. No Illidan, no Morales, and they're just moving there with the mobility that they have and try to backdoor the hell out of the blue team. I mean, to be fair, I think it's funny. I think they have no chance of winning, though. If they had Tyrael with them for Sanctification, I think they might have a shot here. They also don't necessarily need heroes that can jump over these walls. They can just take a wall down. But I would have personally just liked to see them to do the same thing with Tyrael. I think the reason why they do it with the Nubarak is because the beetles that are spawning allow them to change the target fire to the beetles instead of the heroes. That allows them a bit more aggression. But they have Sylvana, so they don't need that. And they could have used Tyrael for Sanctification so that they get a guaranteed keep. If they do that, if they would have used Tyrael here, that keeps gone. And then they can try to backdoor the core, I suppose. So this is actually interesting. It's a little bit silly, but it's also interesting. So they are already 2 levels behind, and that's obviously a huge problem. But if they play this with a different main tank, I think they might have a shot. I also think they should have probably have waited until level 10. First of all, for Sanctification, if they play Tyrael, but also to, let's say, get Gust with Falstad, because they need to Gust the opponent away. They're trying to do the same thing again, and it's not happening. Yeah, they might get the keep now, but even that's a stretch. And as usual in a situation like this, you just lose too much ground. Can Illidan at least get the keep? I don't think so. No! Yeah, again, they needed to wait for level 10 here. They got a bit too greedy. If they have a level 10 in that situation, then they're able to Gust the opponent away. They can Cocoon with an Uberak. So the idea is pretty much the same that you have with Backdoor Morales. They just walk the map. That's essentially the difference. They're just saying, okay, we're going to go for a full backdoor strategy, but instead of using the medevac to get there, we are just walking, and that's it. So it's not horrible, but if you lose too many times without taking those keeps out and you can't go for the core afterwards, then you just end up falling farther and farther behind and lose the game. You can win with this. This is a pretty dirty strategy, but now they're getting farmed. The blue team has obviously caught up to what's happening. Basically, what you need to do with this is you need to take the keep down on your first try. That's pretty important. That also explains why they went early on for the fort at the top, because they needed to take that thing down. Okay, so big bonus points for trying something like this. I actually think this is super cool, but the donation squad has donated a few too many lives to the cause, and that results in a 2-level advantage for Rum and Ehre. So again, there is some merit to this. You can surprise an opponent, but they were obviously a little bit desperate and a bit too eager to make some of these plays. Nice pawn, by the way, but Falstad and Sylvanas are still dead. And this is going to be a quickie now. But kudos for trying this. I think if they get a different main tank and they just tighten up the strategy a bit, they can make this problematic. And also, once that you have that keep, you should probably not focus too hard on getting the core destroyed, but also have, you know, like a bit of a general map strategy as a backup, as a follow-up, so that you can technically try and take an opponent down that is too focused on defending that lane then. But, well, nicely done by Rumenera, good reaction. Pretty cool strategy by the Donation squad, but we'll see in game number 2 if they have also a few other aces down up their sleeves. We're going to head straight into game number 2, but before we do, once again guys, if you enjoy the coverage on the channel here, if you enjoy the match, please like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. It also helps to boost the game to an even wider audience. And of course, it helps to get people back into Heroes of the Storm, as the algorithm recommends the videos to people that were interested in Heroes of the Storm in the past. So again, before we continue, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel and like the video. Appreciate it. And with that, we're heading straight into the second map of the series. Game number 2! So the blue team is in the lead. The Donation squad, I have to give them kudos for trying something a little bit different. I think, as I already mentioned in the previous game, that there were a few things they could have changed in order to make this more successful. A backdoor strategy can be quite fun, and it can really catch an opponent off guard, but you also need to make sure that it really hits hard, meaning the first attack... They ban Morales out, so she's a typical hero that you would pick with the backdoor strategy for Medivac, so that you can just fly to the structures. So they're looking at the red team, they're like, you're not gonna try that again. But yeah, so Tyrael, I think, would have been the better choice over Anubarak for the reasons pointed out. A bit more patience with some of the attacks would have been good too, just so that they are able to use the heroic abilities, so that Falstad can gust back, that Tyrael can use Sanctification when he's in the game, and the first attack kind of needs to take the keep out. Now, the backdoor strategy in general has actually been nerfed with the last patch a little bit. The problem is simply that you have now structures with more HP. They have 12.5% additional health, and that's a bit of a problem, of course, if you're trying to take structures down quickly. Now, if you're pushing with a minion wave and you have the Inspire buff on that minion wave that got now added, then this kind of cancels each other out a little bit, and you have a pretty interesting situation on your hand. If you're attempting to backdoor, though, then you now have to dish out more damage than you had to do in the previous patch in order to take those out. So that's something that plays a role here as well. I kind of like still that they were trying something here, but good fun for sure. Jojo gets banned. Keep in mind, all of the heroes that have been played previously cannot be played again, so they are already out. And, well, with this now, we're having our first picks coming in. We have also Garden of Terror as our map. That's obviously a map that got changed. Well, the map itself didn't get changed. The objective got buffed a little bit. So now I believe the Garden Terrors have 12.5% additional hit points, and they're scaling harder into the late game, which we've already seen in a previous series where Garden of Terror was played. So, Anduin, first one to be taken here. We got Blaze and Greymane as the starting heroes for the Donation squad. And I'm personally just curious to see what they're going to do now. I would assume that... I would guess that they're playing a straight-up game now. Then at the same time, it wouldn't shock me if all of a sudden on the last picks they're coming in with something absolutely nasty and they're just saying, okay guys, we're going to have some fun on this one. For Rum and Ehre, they started off well. They reacted pretty good after they realized what was happening. Now we have the father and son duo as Varian and Anduin get picked together with, by the way, Malthael. So, yeah, with Malthael they already have their side lane ready. Dehaka, I believe, is still up for grabs. So, I'm actually a little bit surprised that nobody went for either Hogger or Dehaka. Hogger is amazing when you're trying to go for mercenary camps. Dehaka, if you're trying to control the global game. So, it's interesting that none of the two has been claimed so far. Those are usually picked very, very early and reliably on Garden of Terror. But different strategies from the teams right now, specifically with the blue team, as they're apparently attempting to go for... I assume that Varian is a taunt Varian, right? So let's just put that out there. So that would normally mean that you're trying to get some quick and easy kills. They need some burst damage after that. We'll see if they're going to get that. The next ban on the side of Rhaegar. So yeah, Rhaegar taken out, Tyrael taken out. Artanis, okay. Nazeebo is kind of what I was expecting. Some wild picks from the team. They don't have a healer yet, so Blaze main tank? Not 100% certain what I'm looking at here. Greymane and a Zebo, so... Didn't Hello play the main tank last time? Are they playing without a healer? Is that what we're getting? Well, let's see. Here comes Kel'Thas, and we get Leoric. So a triple front line, and Kel'Thas is the main damage. And that brings us the final pick, and I don't want to watch. There's a good chance that they're not even going for a healer here. They normally would have to pick one right now, but Hello was at least on last map. Yeah, they're going Asmodan. Okay. Well, here it is, the donation squad, ladies and gentlemen. Garden of Terror. It is game number 2, and let's see if that lineup works out for them. It's a fun one for sure. We're going to map number 2, Garden of Terror. So, things are definitely getting a little bit wild in this series. This is an interesting one, and a fun one at that. Over on the left side, the blue team already in the lead, and they have to deal with all the craziness that we're getting from the donation squad. But the blue team here with Sergeant Johnny on Leoric, we got Sergeant Hader on Varian. Serena is playing Kel'Thas, Vazimir on Anduin, and Kazim is playing Malthael. As the donation squad comes in with Slywalker on Nezebo with a Thing of the Deep on level 1. Please Don't Kill Me on Greymane. We got LGM on Blaze. This on Artanis with the amateur opponent, interestingly enough. And Greed for Hello on Asmodan. Now... I would expect a Toad build, by the way. Because the problem is... I mean... It's a trap. So, they obviously don't have a healer. Long, sustained battles with the opponent are not really a thing. So, what we kind of want to see here is just them playing the map and pushing the lanes. This is kind of what I personally expect. Now, if this is what we're going to get, this is a very different story. They're also trying to steal a couple of Siege Giants away early on, which they succeed in doing. Asmodan doesn't seem to know how to stack when he's alone on the lane, so that's a bit of a problem. Ooh, even Leo has been taken out at the top. So, here's for everybody again. If you're alone with a lane on Asmodan, you auto-attack the backline. You auto-attack the backline minions until they're nearly dead. Your minions are attacking the frontline minions, and then when all of them are low, then you use the orb and you get your stacks. That's how you do that when you're alone. Now, you should never be alone on lane at the beginning when you're playing Asmodan. There should always be somebody from your team that helps you to get stacks, somebody with an AoE ability. That works quite nicely, so you get your orb out, the ally just kills the minions, and that's basically it. After you stack that a little bit, you are very quickly in a situation where you can get all of those stacks by yourself. After you hit level 7, you have obviously your laser and can contribute even more to that. But generally speaking, if you're going for one of these minion waves, as I said, you auto-attack the backline minions, your minion wave attacks the front line, everybody gets low, then you use your orb, and that's how you play that out and get good stacks. So really something to remember if you are playing with Asmodan and you're trying to have him have an impact. Because the problem that the red team is already running into right now is that Asmodan is essentially useless. Early on, and for a long time, Asmodan is going to be a shadow of what he could be. If you help him to stack quickly, then he can control the minion waves way better. He has more of an impact on those lanes, and this is now going to get pretty dicey. The red team, by the way, they went for a similar strategy at the beginning as they did in game number 1. They tried to be a bit cheeky and started to invade camps. And currently, Roman Era just decided to be aggressive themselves. They looked at this, they had level 4 with Varian and Taunt, and they just said, guys, you know what? We're just going to push them right now. We're not going to play their game where they are going to rotate around us, attack structures, and take camps away. We're just going to be aggressive ourselves, move in, and do whatever we can here. Now, Hello with only 26 stacks, 3 minutes into the game now. The first seat has also been taken. And the red team is starting to have some troubles here already. So, they're stacking the Zebo, at least they're trying to. Same is happening with Asmodan, but both of them sitting at the top lane is not going to do them any favors either. So, they are going to try and dominate some of these camps, but there is a level gap, well, not really a level gap. There's a difference in experience for the two teams already this early on. Nazebo is in trouble and will be taunted and die. So, yeah, he has absolutely no chance. So he just goes... and he goes down. And that is level 7 for the blue team. Ruhm und Ehre with Burn Flesh on level 7 for Kelthas. There's this aggression at the bot lane. You have, of course, a lot of heroes right now that are really good at taking structures down. Asmodan later on with the Demonic Invasion can do a lot. You have Greymane. You can use Nazebo. Spider. Well, a Toad build would even be better to take down structures. You can get a lot of damage on structures with Toads. But we have now Dead Rush on level 7, and we get Blood Ritual. Asmodan by now has Master of Destruction, so this is going to help him to get some extra stacks together. But he gets slowed down again, and 42 stacks at this point in time is not really all that amazing. So it's going to be tricky for Hello to get to a point where he really has an actual impact on the way the game is being played out. Slywalker caught again and killed, and that's Nazebo down for the second time. 3 kills to 1. This gets attacked, and yep, the liability is dead too. Artanis goes down, and the blue team is aiming for the next few camps to steal away here. There's plenty of targets. Only problem is at the bottom of the map, the fort that is already losing hit points thanks to Greymane just jumping in on this and having the minion wave, of course, together with him. But it is more than a 1-level lead now for the blue team. And, for example, Malsael here pushes this back easily. Now that Blaze is coming in too. Jet Propulsion connects. Can they get the kill? Kazim is still gonna get away here, isn't he? Well, he actually was for a second looking to get that kill on Greymane, or thinking about it. But the mid lane is getting pressured. Asmodan is currently the only defender here and is trying his best to hold on to that lane. We have up at the top lane. Yeah, the camp taken out, but there's another seed up on the map in just a few seconds, and level 10 is ready any moment now for Ruhm and Ehre. Which means that with heroic abilities, they should be able to get that seed. We actually get Tormented Souls for Malthael, and that would be the first Garden Terror. Very early in the game, by the way. So I'm not even sure we're going to see those changes in action for the Garden Terrors. We saw them in the previous series where Garden of Terrors played. But this is now one of the earliest objectives on this map that I've ever seen, assuming that they get it. Pyroblast for Kelthas. Again, no healer for the red team. Quick reminder. So any kind of poke that they're suffering is bad for them, and especially with Kelthas being around, that's a problem. There's the hit, and a big, big kill by Pyro. Pyro useful. Viable, viable, viable. The crowd goes wild. Asmodan interrupts again, and that's going to be Garden Terrors. As talking about Asmodan, he gets targeted and is likely going to fall. Asmodan is gone. There's the Entomb on Blaze. He also gets wrecked. That's kill number 8 for the blue team. And of course, the Garden Terrors are already starting to do some work here. Without level 10 ready for the donation squad, they're having some real problems here. I mean, top side, for example, Greymane is defending as best as he can. But this is disastrous. They're going to lose way too much here. The damage output so far is at 21,000 for Malthael. We got 8,000 for Nazebo. And in the middle, they're pushing through the next wall as well. And this is all with the first objective. We're 7 minutes into the game. Big swap over here. I'm not quite sure if Artanis did himself any favors on the other hand, though. And here he goes for his ult. The secret trick to mitigate the ult from Artanis, you walk away from it. I hate this ult so much, you have absolutely no idea. It's one of the most useless abilities that ever existed, Purifier Beam. And then its counter, walking away. And there's always a couple of Wood League players that are always running around. It's like, no, you don't understand. Like, when the hero has to move, yeah, that makes him useless for the fight. First of all, that thing just tickles less than a mosquito bite. Second of all, if you just walk away, as long as you have the mechanics of at least a caterpillar, you're going to be able to just walk in a circle and still contribute in a fight. You don't have to just start screaming and run on towards the other side of the map. So if you have any skills whatsoever, you can easily participate in a team fight without this doing any real damage. One of the things where it starts to become a bit more useful is if you have anyone that can go for a real nice CC and then you get full value if you go for a combo. Then we're talking a bit of a different game. But just having that ult on Artanis and throwing it out does absolutely nothing for you. No fucking way. You are kidding me! Oh my god! These guys have been practicing backdoor strategies for their entire life. They had a team meeting and they just went, how can we backdoor? What are all the ways that we can backdoor the best? And they don't even destroy sidewalls. They could destroy the sidewall so quickly and they just went like, nah, we're gonna use a bunker. This is honestly amazing. This is fantastic. Oh god, I want to have a best of 7 with these guys. They're going, like, think about it. They're going to play Nidus. They're going to play Illidan, Samuro, Abathar, stuff like that. Unbelievable. They got the keep, by the way. They lost one in the same process. If they wouldn't have lost so many heroes early on, I think they would have actually had a chance to make something with it. I don't know why they didn't go for a support and try to play more of a game. Pyro gets another kill here. They're obviously losing every single fight because they just don't have a healer. They don't have any sustain. Their keep at the top lane is already gone, and now they're about to lose the one in the middle. But I really think if they tighten up some of their ideas, they can actually do work here. Like, if you tighten up some of these strategies, you can do something. You can actually get some wins. Now, they're 4 levels behind at this point, but you gotta admire the ingenuity here of just coming around and coming up with some of this stuff. The bunker play was awesome. You can argue whether or not it was needed. You could just break through the sidewall if you're already there, but it's still funny as hell. 18 kills to 1, and the blue team is just going for it right now. Still trying to quickly get that core down. It's already at 75%. We're looking at kill number 20 in total. And, of course, they're going to try more. Artanis is gone. And I suppose this is going to put in the final nail into the coffin. We're 11 minutes into the game. But, yeah, they're going for a pretty fun one. I'm actually curious, like, what do you guys think what they should change in order to make something like this viable and make it actually work? I think there's a couple of things that you could do to make this way more dangerous than it was. Starting with adding a healer to the strategy. But good job by Rum and Ehre to react properly to it, to not get caught off guard and take the series, and sending the donation squad into the lower bracket. GG.